The Athletic's Mike Sando published a controversial article this week. It was controversial in a way where there was kind of shots taken at Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the article from unnamed sources, an unnamed NFL defensive coordinator. They don't say who it is, but he quoted the NFL DC because I believe it was a tiered quarterback list where he had Mahomes as a tier 2. But anyway, this NFL DC had some outrageous comments to say about Mahomes, and the quote was, "We love Mahomes because of his unorthodox throws, not because of his natural pocket presence. And when that disappears, that is when they lose games. I don't think that is a 1. I think that is a 2. Nothing against the guy. I love the kid. But take his first read away, and what does he do? He runs, he scrambles, he plays street ball," was the quote. Wow. And I think some of this gets there's a lot of things here. There's a lot of and I'll let you take over on the commentary there, JD. But I think a lot of things we love about Mahomes is the fact that he can play street ball because he can play football like how you play in a backyard. He makes football fun. He makes things that are impossible look plausible that anybody can do, but not anybody can do that because he's one of a kind who can do that. He makes things like these mythical throws, these mythical comebacks that he had against the Texans because he's just different. And to say you take away his read, no, that's not true at all. And PFF actually had a stat on that, which Patrick Mahomes on throws past his first read since 2018, 91.00 PFF grade, first in the league, 4,498 yards, 498 passing yards, first since 2018, and 39 passing touchdowns, first. And that's past his first read. So these are PFF who does the analytics. So this is based in nothing. I don't even know who this defensive coordinator is. There's also a racial undertone here with when you say street ball as well. So I'm going to let you kind of take this one over, JD. But what are your thoughts about this ridiculous quote?
Oh, man. It's exactly that. It's ridiculous. And I this has no merit whatsoever. This is one guy's opinion. And those guys on the show, they said earlier, put your name behind it. If that's really how you feel, right? Don't be anonymous about it and say, what you want to say. But I'm going to say this. If you just don't know how to express how a guy that's so talented can still make plays, maybe use his legs, maybe crafty in getting touchdowns or first downs and still win the football games, that you will try to diminish what he's done. It really says a lot about who this guy is. Patrick Mahomes is without a doubt the best quarterback in football. Okay, he is, and you can argue all these different points you want to, but you weren't saying that about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's making a lot of plays. He's running with his legs, but apparently, I guess he doesn't have an unorthodox throwing position. I mean, what's supposed to be the norm, right? What's supposed to be the norm? When Drew Brees was killing everybody, but he's not the prototypical quarterback that's standing 6'3" or 6'4". He's got all the pass records that you could possibly have in football. But what's the norm, right? So you can use these things to try to invalidate who a guy and his ability is. Just makes you look like a fool. It really does. Because the wins, the touchdowns, the passing doesn't bear it out. The facts doesn't bear it out. So, yeah, have your little opinion behind your little article, whatever you want to do, push out, have it all you want to. But this is without a doubt, and which is so sad, another one of those racial undertones that people say. It really is. Backyard football, okay, or what is street ball? Oh no, street ball.
Street ball.
Because it's got to be particular to a certain ethnic group, right? The same thing, Lamar Jackson. Look, and I'm gonna say this, okay? Lamar Jackson, without a doubt, is a top quarterback in the league. This is my opinion, okay? If I'm starting a franchise, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson because he's a double threat with his legs and him throwing the football. Now, he might not have the passing up. If it's just a passing back, right? Okay. If it's just a passing back, yeah, these other guys are, head and shoulders above Lamar Jackson. But what Lamar Jackson's been able to do over these past years, killing guys. I mean, he's been killing defenses. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can take it away from him. They just can't. They said that when he came out, from Louisville, the same thing, trying to train him into a wide receiver. But the guy won MVP. Okay, he had, I think, I forgot how many yards. I don't really know his stats. But I know what I watched, and I've seen what he's been doing. But the same Pat, he can do the same thing. Pat is underrated as a rusher, is running the football.
Yeah,
and big old legs he got, and the hips be moving. When he gets up and down the field, he can, because he has some ability. He has athletic ability. He's an athlete. So, when guys say things like that, and when you use certain words and verbiage, to describe guys, what that means when they use that particular verbiage, right? Certain definitions and terms they use it. Okay, shucking and jiving. Well, who you think you're talking to? You ain't gonna, what demographic would you use? What would you say it was to? So, man, when you hear so much of this, because stuff is still prevalent today, it's so crazy that we're actually having this conversation. Because sometimes maybe he didn't even realize it, and I think sometimes people don't realize what they say. They really don't. They don't. Sometimes they just understand that maybe some things that's being said is ignorance, and you're like, oh well, I wasn't really trying to be okay. I know you wasn't, but then you need to realize, what this truly means, and that sometimes we need to be cognizant of these things and aware of what's being said. But even if he did, and he didn't really care, fine, whatever. Let's go back to the numbers. Let's go back to it. This man has been to 2 Super Bowls, MVP, Super Bowl, 4 AFC Championship games.
Yeah,
but he's unorthodox, and he's a second-tier quarterback. Okay, somebody need to reach in and smack you. I don't know who it is, and maybe you're probably not a defensive coordinator anymore. If you are, then I'm sure your butt's been getting kicked up and down the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So regardless of that, I tell you what, when you go up against him, I guarantee you ain't saying that. And if you are saying that, he's still kicking your butt regardless of it. True. So I just, to me, man, it's upsetting, and it's disappointing to hear. It's disappointing to hear, for the simple fact that you don't think Patrick Mahomes is a top tier quarterback, or he's not the best quarterback in the league, because he doesn't have the same, I don't know, or, standard throw or whatever. Yeah.
Brady, man, that's why he doesn't look like that guy.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Just absolutely runs through me. It's just completely ridiculous, utterly dismissive. It's completely wrong. And that guy right there he's I don't know, man. I'm just going to leave it at that. He's see now is what I'm going to say. See now. He's crazy. So whatever.
The thing is, too, it's like this. When I read here, when I first saw this, I was like, "This is interesting." This is what they say. They were scared about Mahomes when he came out for the draft out of Texas Tech, because he's played for the air raid system. He doesn't really have the reads and stuff and all that stuff. That's something they were scared of, and looking at his college tape. And since he's been playing in the league, that's obviously, I read the PFF numbers that they looked at since he's been starting since 2018. It's like, okay, well, not only is this a ridiculous statement, it's wrong. It's factually
wrong.
Actually
right.
Correct. So it's like, was this guy basing his stuff off of Mahomes' pre-draft comms? I mean, what is this? And then also on top of that, if this post said, or if the guy said, he doesn't take what the defenses give him, he wants to go for the deep shot. Yeah, that's fine. That was a big problem last year. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. But he does this first read nonsense. I mean, that's wrong. That's BS. And quite frankly, I know Sando didn't say this, but you're publishing a quote that's an actually incorrect quote
Right.
And does that kind of just negate your whole story? And we're not even talking about what the actual extent of the article was. We're talking about this quote that's just a factually incorrect. And it's like, okay, well, why did we publish this garbage if it's not even right? So.
Well, man, look, we, like I said, there's a lot of things out here on the internet. Somebody might say, hey, no, JD is wrong. Fine, whatever. I'm just saying what I'm seeing from playing football. I know. And sometimes when you have a quarterback that can do both, can hit you with their arm and their leg, he's a dangerous guy to beat. He really is. And so when you've seen a guy like Steve Young, right, who won Super Bowls because of his legs, there's guys that can run with the football. Michael Vick, dangerous with his legs. We know Patrick Mahomes throwing the football, he's a dangerous man back there. Mm. He's got a cannon on him. There's not a throw that anybody in the league can make more than Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes has more of a bag of difficulty of making plays than anybody else. So you can say it's street ball, you can say it's, whatever, backyard football, you can say whatever you want to say. I say it's successful. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's leading. That's what we call it. Okay. So he has a level of talent that other guys in the league just don't have. Yeah. So who do you want to use? I don't care who you use as a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes can make every throw any of those guys can make, and then some.
Yeah.
And then some. So him sit there saying that, or just, man, quit it with that.
It sounds like an older guy, like a boomer, as the kids say, a boomer who really is not with the times anymore. It just looks different to him, I guess. But it's like, you're right, successful football, but like Mahomes is doing stuff that, kids, you see kids doing, having fun in the backyard, doing those kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a reason why it's never been done in the NFL before, because it's tough to do. And he's pretty damn good at it.
Man, look, the man's creative. Okay, the man's talented, and you're going to take that talent and creation and say like, oh my gosh, it's just, well, no, this thing right here, because nobody else can do it. Everybody's in all of it.
Yeah,
and you're in all of it. But just because you say it's not the standard or what you think in your mind is the standard or what it should be, okay, then it's not right. Yeah. So look, there's a lot of bad opinions out there. There really is. And so this guy right here, man, he has no merit. Guys like that, that talk and say, man, it's completely ridiculous. So, you'd be shocked though. You don't necessarily, has to be somebody older guy. You'd be shocked sometimes. Because sometimes people just learn, bad behavior. That could be one of those things get passed down, right? And so I think, man, all of that, man, is just crazy. Yeah. That's why I said, like, I just said it about like kind of Lamar too. Lamar is just, he's a weapon. We know that he's a weapon. And taken away from him. But quarterback encompasses everything. Passing and maybe running the football. Yeah. That's everything that you can do as a leader. All these different things. So it's just not a passing guy, right? You just got to have the best release. Well, shoot, they said it about who's the guy, I can't even think of his name right now. Came out of BYU.
Oh, Zach Wilson?
Yeah. Oh, he's got a pretty ball. How many games he win last year?
I know. Yeah.
What did he do? Right? Okay. Yeah. Shoot. We could go, up and down the road with guys that they're supposed to be the prototypical quarterbacks who do things, has a great arm, suckers out the league.
Yeah.
They're not getting it done. So all you want to about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the number one quarterback in the NFL, period. Bar none.
By a mile, dude.
By a mile.
By a mile.
A long shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's crazy. We talk about the racial undertones of the street ball stuff. And like, we talk about his opinion being, not based in anything, not based in fact, just an opinion, right? But he's trying to say it's a factual thing. If you take away his first read, he can't do anything, which is not true at all, as we saw the stats. So that also goes along with another racial undertone of black quarterbacks can't be smart enough to read defenses, because that's always been something. The whole
been something, yeah.
So that's good. Forget street ball is a whole different aspect, because that's something else where we're going to a different a way of looking at the racial undertone. But the intelligence aspects, like, dude, we're looking at the stats right here. That's not true. So like, whoever this is, I don't know.
And the thing is, that rumor has been dispelled. Like all of that is just like there's no bearing whatsoever of validity in any of that what's being said.
Yeah.
But also too, like even if he does throw it deep, He had a receiver that he could throw the ball deep to.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't want him to utilize a weapon? You know, I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm going deep to a guy who could get past the defense.
Yeah.
Better than anybody else in the league. Like, come on. Why wouldn't he utilize that? Yeah. If he has that. If he has that, why wouldn't he utilize it? Right?
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like this guy's bitter as hell.
Hey, man. I don't know. I'm like this. If you James Bond and you got all these gadgets, or Batman or whatever, you got all these gadgets, but you ain't gonna use them because, like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take down, diminish what I can do. No, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna use everything in my, my utility belt, right? Or my car or whatever. I'm gonna use everything.
Yeah,
so
you'd be a fool not to.
Right.
What are you gonna do? Some people have these crazy opinions that they think are based in factual analysis, but they're not. So I wonder who he's a DC for. I really do wonder. I mean, after reading that and seeing the PFF stats, because I mean, I knew it was a false, but then reading the stats, he was number one in all these PFF grades that we always talk about. And it's like, okay, who's this guy? Who's this guy?
He's probably he might have been the DC man against your flag football team. So he probably said some, like that. You was cooking them up, Marcus. You cooking them up. Shoot. He got mad because you was doing Pat Mahomes was doing to him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like it.
I wouldn't put it past him. Put it
past him, man. But I'm just saying, like, yo, that, like, when somebody, says something like that, man, you see how incredibly ridiculous it is, and you just move past it because it's like, why even give it air? Why even give it air?
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, but I also wanted to hear your reaction on it tonight, just because it's like it's so outrageous on so many levels that I was like, I wanted to hear a US6. I mean, you hear Shannon Sharp, he's a big Mahomes fan, but he went off today on that whole quote, and it's like,
oh, did he? I know Sharp went in.
Oh yeah,
I got to check it out. I can imagine.
I didn't see what Skip said, but while Sharp was talking, you could see Skip like nodding his head to what Sharp was saying. And Skip's been one of Mahomes' biggest doubters, which is weird. Skip doesn't make any sense. A lot of these guys don't make sense to me. They're all like caricatures. But Skip, who's a huge Mahomes fan coming out of college, then once Mahomes comes to the NFL, changes his whole thing on Mahomes. Because I think, these guys had to have Sharp's for Mahomes. Okay, I have to be against Mahomes.
Right. Yeah. That's part of the show. Right.
It's all a gimmick, but it's crazy. Anybody who agrees with this doesn't know football. And after seeing the stats, I hope that should also tell people, like, okay, well, there's nothing based in merit in this whole thing. So whatever.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.